you're fine. You going?
Yeah.
Good morning, children. We're gonna do the double pinch pot method for making our sculpture today. So I did my sketches and I decided I need 2 pinch pots for its body and then a smaller pinch pot for its head. So I'm gonna set aside some of my clay and then I'm gonna divide my clay in half and then make the 2 balls even. And then make the 2 pinch pots. When you're making your sculpture, because this is not something that's functional, it doesn't have to be thin. And in fact, it's probably a little bit better if it's a bit thicker, because you can always carve clay away later. But once it gets leather hard and you start carving, if you don't have enough clay, it's really difficult to add clay back onto it. So leave it a little bit thicker than you think you might normally do. Okay, try and make your 2 pinch pot halves about the same size. And then crumple up newspaper, and you kind of want to make a shape that will fill one half and then the other half as well. Or you could fill both halves separately. So I've got a little bit too much. The benefit of using newspaper like this is it will help your body hold its shape. But it will also compress and be able to be squished as it's drying. So what does clay do as it dries?
Shrinks.
It shrinks. So if you put like a rock or a piece of wood or something on the inside to help hold its shape, that is going to cause the clay to crack because the clay can't shrink around that, it'll just break. So I've scored and slipped, oh, there we go. I forgot you're the camera. Scored and slipped both sides, and I put water on one side. I've got my paper squished up, and I'm gonna push that inside. Probably need a little bit more, so I'll put a little on this side. And then I'll push the 2 halves together, and then weld those over. And with the paper inside, it's going to be a lot easier for me to shape this the way that I need to. So if I'm thinking about a sloth body, it's going to be sort of, potato. I mean, it's going to be potato shaped. It's going to be kind of long. I probably am going to need to look at more pictures of sloth bodies to see how it's actually shaped. But I feel like it's going to be kind of flat like this and then like that. Now, I also need to, I'm gonna actually cut out a hole at the top and pull that clay away, and then score that area and make my third little pinch pot for its head. And I'll probably take a little bit more newspaper and shove into that head, score that, slip it, and then press that on. And then weld that together. Okay, does that look like a sloth?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't, but it will. Okay, so here's my start. Okay. Now, I also know that I have to make the tree. So I've got this started. I'm going to set that aside, and I need to make the tree, and then I'm going to have to attach this body to the tree, and then work on attaching the arms. And I'll be working on this throughout today. So I'm going to start making everything really rough. I'm not trying to refine everything yet. It's going to be super rough. And once I get all the pieces kind of attached at the soft clay, once it gets the leather hard, then you can start carving and refining and fine-tuning your sculpture. But do everything kind of as a rough sketch in clay first. Okay, that's good. Okay, so this is the continuation of my snaky sloth. What I did yesterday is I made a tree stump. Does it look like a tree stump? When I ask you a question like that, go like this. Yes. Yeah. Okay, tree stump, right? I threw this on the wheel, but I could have just as easily used coils to build it. And I added one branch. And then I've got this was the potato shape yesterday when we put the two pieces of, or the two pinch pots together and stuffed it with newspaper. And then what I'm trying to do now is shape it roughly into the shape of the sloth body. So this is going to be kind of its mouth, and I want it kind of looking up. And sloth bodies are actually kind of long and thin, so I kind of have pulled and elongated this, and that paper inside is helping me keep the shape pretty well. And I know that I'm going to need to make shoulders and a neck, so I'm kind of pressing in this indentation around its head, and I'm going to start shaping. So I know that it's going to have like a little bit of a snout, and it's going to have little cheeks like this. Try and get those cheeks on both sides. Just kind of gently pushing that in. Okay. And then I'm going to need to attach the snaky arms here and here. But looking down, I want the sloth to kind of be attached behind the tree like this. So I need to kind of make its body fit against the tree, like it's hugging that tree. And then down here at the bottom, I've started to kind of, so I used a tool and I kind of cut a little bit on the bottom shape, and I'm pulling out the start of his leg shapes. So what I'm going to do next is get this attached on here, and then I'm going to start making the long coils for the snaky arms. And we're going to cut and then come back. Alright, so I've got the sloth body kind of started to be roughed in, and I've got it attached to my tree. And so right here, I've got a divot. I've got a couple divots placed so that I can attach his arms. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to make, so I've got to make boa constrictor arms. I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to start with making a coil.
Because maybe I want to know 3 languages, okay? Because I'm not good at the other one.
Then, because I need to be able to wrap this around, I want the clay to be really flexible. So I'm going to drag a damp sponge along it, and that'll help make sure that it's going to be really plastic and flexible. And then snake bodies are really just long muscles. So I'm gonna drag my fingers along this a couple of different ways, and that'll kind of mimic the way a muscle looks under a snake's skin. So what I'm going to do is start with one end, and I'm going to round off, and I'm going to score it, and then I'm gonna add water into my socket. I'm actually gonna take this off. Banding wheel. And then I'm gonna attach this pretty firmly. I'm gonna press that in pretty well. And then I might need to even add a little bit more clay around that joint. And then I need to make it look like a snake, arm kind of wrapping around. And then I've got too much, so I'm just gonna stop it right there. I'm gonna pinch it off, and that's where I'll start attaching the claws. So I'll make another one for this side, and then I'll do slightly smaller ones for the feet as well.